I also loved watching in real time him, frankly, trying to have it both ways on Fauci. Now, quite understandably, and good on you for bringing it up, this was a figure that was, yes, in a position of power because that was his position in the government. But Trump never fired him. He never silenced him. He never defunded him. He never told him to get out of the way. And he, of course, ended up becoming a lightning rod for all of the multiplicity of weird things that happened as a result of COVID. I was interested that in the preview day before we got the full interview today, you released about a 9-minute clip and it was the conversation in and around Fauci. Is that because you saw particular value in how he was not quite answering those questions?
It's because I asked my audience, what would you like me to ask Trump? And it was the number one question by far. Do you have any regrets on how you handled COVID? From Fauci to the lockdowns to the mandates that his White House coronavirus task force was recommending on masks. Wouldn't you like a do-over? That's what people want to know. These are his fans, for the most part. They want to hear him say, yeah, I would have done it a little differently had I do what you do. That is what they wanted him to say. It's not who Trump is. It's not. I mean, there's a quote going around the internet of old Trump, is really young Trump, but I mean a long time ago, saying, you just don't admit when you make mistakes. Just don't. If they've got you dead to rights, blame it on somebody else. And he does live his life that way. I don't think he's capable of saying I screwed it up. It's just not who he is. I do think that's a problem because if you look at the reactions to the interview, core MAGA, they're fine with it. They love Trump. He had classic Trump moments when he was just explaining why he calls Ron DeSantis Ron DeSanctimonious. It was kind of funny, I have to say. I don't love the name calling, but he's funny, when he was talking about, he was ripping on me for that debate question. It was terrible, no, you were awful. Kind of funny too. His, talking about Biden, he can't speak. He can't put two sentences together. He makes you laugh a little. When you talk about Bruce and Caitlyn Jenner, he was very good looking. He's this good looking. He's just, there's something, you kind of start chuckling and you're like, I like him, right? So the Trump world like that, but DeSantis world is mad about the COVID stuff. And they want him to take some accountability of it. And they hate the fact that he's trying to paint Ron DeSantis as a COVID hawk when DeSantis was anything of the kind, anything but that. And he also pushed back on Trump's White House coronavirus task force time and time again, which was run by Fauci. They were trying to make Florida mask. And Ron DeSantis said no. They were trying to make them mandate the vaccine, and he said no. Ron DeSantis did things like pass a law saying you may not fire somebody for not getting the jab. That was very unique among governors. At best, other governors were saying, all right, don't mandate it. We're not going to mandate it. But they weren't punishing corporations that tried to mandate it. So we all know that Ron DeSantis was one of the best governors in America on pushing back against the COVID mania. And when I pressed back on Trump, not too hard because it's not my job to defend Ron DeSantis. It's my job to elicit Trump's opinion, same as I did when I had Ron there. But when I pushed back a little, Trump backed right off of it. He said, I'm not attacking anybody, because he knows it's not true. It's a political thing between those guys.
Yeah, exactly. And sort of, one that he's tried to make personal. But look, anyone's allowed to run for the nomination. But I'm very much with you, which is, look, the guy deserves another shot at it. See what happens. DeSantis is young enough that if he wants to, he can come back again in 4 years. All right, I'm going to let you go in a sec, but I wanted to ask about Melania. I love the way you asked him about Melania. I love the way that he responded about Melania. Now, you could also, and again, I'm not inside his head, but I'm going to pretend to be for a second or two. He loves his wife. He loves his kid, and very obviously the dynamic in their relationship is, don't talk about me. I'm a private person. If you force me to be, a public person because I have to be the first lady, I want to do it on my terms. I loved how he was equally proud but protective of his wife. What did you think?
I really think that Melania gets a bad rap. I think she was 100% classy and collected and dignified when she was the first lady and has remained the same thereafter. She's not running in front of the cameras. She doesn't need attention. She spent a lifetime in front of the cameras. That was fine. That was good enough. She, as he pointed out, she made it on the cover of Vogue as a civilian. She didn't need to get up there as the first lady, as they've done for all these lefties. You know, I mean, Michelle Obama's on there, Vogue doing the big spread on Karine Jean-Pierre, please, and not Melania. Okay. So he points out she earned it, you know, on merit, on her actual beauty back. That's how you normally land on the cover of Vogue, not for her husband's politics. In any event, I do know somebody who's pretty close to them. And this person told me in advance of the interview, she's his rock. There's only one person, Kellyanne Conway said publicly, there's only one person he fears, and it's Melania. But that they're actually tight and they have dinner together every night. They love each other. I know all the stories about Trump and the porn stars and the alleged cheating. And of course, I've covered a lot about him and the women, as everybody now knows. I don't know what goes on in the marriage, and I don't know what the covenant is, but I do know that she has stood by him. She did not leave right after he left office, as so many of these Trump-hating Dems predicted she would do, right? That she was going to leave him. I think she genuinely loves her husband, and whether they have an arrangement or what, I couldn't tell you, but I think they're actually close.